Welcome back to CFB Nation. I am your host, Nino Brown. And I got my guy. He's back. He's going to be filling in for D now for a little bit here. And, when you see us on the screen, it's going to be Devy Darling's time. Boom. How we doing tonight?
I'm good, man. We gotta set up and do what we can do at times. So I'm here to do what I can do.
Yeah, I love it. Whether it's at home or at a mobile, unit, my man will plug in and we'll get it done. So we're going to be talking about a guy that, as you see him on the screen here, Cordale Russell, that we believe is about to be a Devy Darling because he's going on to a new home. But before we get that far, let's talk about this gentleman. 6'2", 200 pounds, right? He's a three-sport athlete, played football, basketball, and track, right? Four-star recruit in the 2023 class. Wide receiver 18, top 100 overall. Loving all that. District 11, 6A newcomer of the year. Man got a long jump of 18'3", right? An 11.7 100 meter, 24.65 200 meter, and he's smart as whip with a 3.0 GPA. Boom, you're a track guy just like D now. So talk to me about these numbers. What are your thoughts there?
Yes, I'm a big track guy. I was the only white guy on our sprint relay team way back in the day, and I couldn't quite run 11.7. I'll tell you that. Wasn't a 200 meter guy. I was a 400 meter guy. I ran a 49-second quarter mile, which is pretty fast for this little white kid. But I will tell you, one thing that really stands out to me, the 24.6 is great. He's still got some growing to do. Mm-hmm. What's really impressive, if you watch his tape, he's got really quick feet. I mean, really quick. I think that's what's going to separate him is the fact that he's going to create separation off his route running. And we'll get to it about who my comparison is, but man, I am telling you, some people might be a little shocked on me. So,
all right, well, we'll get into his high school time. Went to North Mesquite High School, right? Played wide receiver, and they had him as a freshman at edge. He didn't play much time at edge, but in 2020, he had 34 receptions, 569 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then in 2021, 21 receptions, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then his last year, 2022, 34 receptions, 725 yards, 9 touchdowns. I mean, got better almost every year. That 2021 year, kind of, I'm not sure. I tried to check. I don't know if it was an injury or something, but kind of was just like didn't play as many games. Numbers were down a little bit, but I mean the bounce back was there in his senior year. He had 9 touchdowns, 725, 17 yards per catch. Like you're getting big numbers there. So, what are your thoughts on the production there in high school?
Obviously, you never know what you're going to get out of a high school. Like depending on the program, and with Mesquite, they're a very run-heavy team anyway.
Right.
I mean, they're I would more say they're probably 55-45 or even 60-40, run to pass at times. But when you got a stallion on your Stallions offense, you got to throw that dude the rock. You know what I mean? So he obviously is productive. He's had his moments. Again, I think only because of the offense is why he was wide receiver 18. Because if you look at the stats and you look at his athletic ability, there's another kid that is coming out to OU. He's on a very small school in Chakota, Oklahoma. He just went to he's expected to go to Oklahoma next year. He's in the 25 class. It's a small school. They don't throw the ball a lot, but the athletic ability stands out. So this is where the offer comes from. I'm telling you, he's going to go from wide receiver 18 to a top 10 wide receiver in his class.
Yeah, I we're going to allude to it as it goes. It's just like small school, went to a school where it kind of couldn't get in there, but I think he's in a spot right now where he's going to burst on the scene this year. And we're going to get to see all of Cordale Russell that we were expecting to see year one. 23 offers, right? Obviously, TCU, Colorado, Nebraska.
You don't get to go to Colorado if you ain't a dude, by the way.
Yeah, no, right. Prime's not bringing in scrubs right now. Like he's going for putting in the playmakers around his son and Shador. What he's done, I mean, name alone, Shador's got it. Right, he doesn't have to say it at the end of his name to be that guy, but he has the talent, and they're just putting pieces around him. Like I said, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but 23 offers, all from the big schools. TCU, Arkansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Utah, SMU, Kansas, and more. But what I saw and what I like about him, and we'll get to play comps after we talk about his small time at TCU, was what he ultimately committed to. Was he's a strong, right? He's just so strong and muscular guy. You can see there on the screen for an 18-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Works well through traffic. He's got good height, good length. Not the greatest, but he's got more than a two route tree. He's got he's got a one-trick pony. He can do different routes. I'd probably say 3 or 4 routes he's fairly good at. He knows when to sit down in space. And for a kid like that, that's a playmaker and athletic, you think they would just try to go make something. But he knows when to get into a little cubby to sit down, get the ball, make it easy for his quarterback to get the completion. He's got top end speed, big stride, and that's something that stuck out to me. And that is why one of the guys in my comp hit off. He's does very well in the contested catches, obviously physical, a good finisher at the top of the route. And this kid can block, whether it's in the pass for a screen or in the run game. He'll get in there and just grab a guy, block him up, and get something sprung to the outside. So what are your thoughts on the attributes and things that jumped off the screen to you?
Again, I think that his top of the route running is what sets him apart in the class. I really think that's where we're going to see the big difference out of him. We'll see long term, where you have him, where I have him, your comparison, I'm going farther back.
Okay.
Right. In my comparison. Right. And there's certain people that really stand out to me. And as we grew up and watching certain guys in the spot, especially in the local area, you have one person, but I'm going to give you a name, and I need you to just focus on this real quick.
All right.
Jeremy Maclin. The route running, the quick feet, and the run after catch is going to be the biggest difference for him in the next level. And I think that's where you're going to see out of Colorado. And we're talking about a player that played with Prime, that Prime knows, and that I think Prime really would compare him to. And I think Jeremy Maclin and our guy Cordale here is watch out.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a speedster. That's one thing for sure. And he was pretty physical for his size. He wasn't the biggest receiver.
Very physical, yes.
But yeah, he didn't shy away from contact. I'm going to save mine to the end, right? But let's just say he went to TCU, committed to TCU. And I thought he was just going to jump out there, being this year. They lost a lot of guys, not week 1, but I think mid-year they would give him some time. He got a total of 32 snaps, 22 out wide, 10 in the slot. I mean, week 2 he had 17 against Nichols. No receptions, no targets. Week 4, had 7 snaps against SMU, no targets, no receptions. And again, week 7 against BYU, 8 snaps, no receptions, no targets. Transferred to Colorado. Now, we've seen what they could do offensively in the beginning of the season before they kind of ran out of gas, right? They were weapons. They lose a couple guys, portal-wise, ineligible for any more years in college football. But they went out, they got Will Shepherd on the outside from Vanderbilt, who's an absolute playmaker, right? They went out and got the only other receiver besides Malik Washington that had 100 receptions in the regular season in college football, and Dante Wester out of FAU. Obviously, they brought Cordale in, and they went after probably about 6 or 7 offensive linemen and brought in a couple 4-stars. So they bolstered up front, protection for Sanders, and they brought in playmakers. And a lot of people say, oh, well, it's kind of, jam-packed because they got a returning guy, and they also brought in the gentleman from Cincinnati, the tight end, who's a playmaker. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's also – so it's he's going to get around. I just think this is going to be an opportunity where he's not going to have to match up against a 1 or 2 on the on the other side of the ball. He can play wherever you're going to want him to play, and he's going to get a matchup where he's probably more physical than the guy lined up behind him, and he's going to be faster. I think he's in a prime spot to just get easy targets early on in the season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually think we're going to combine his 21 and 22 years, and I'm going to go with 55 receptions for about 800 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think he can be right there. I don't think he's going to – I think Shepard's going to be the guy that's going to get a lot of those long plays, right? Shepard will probably get double-digit touchdowns, having one of those 30 to 40-yard bombs, per game, and then – excuse me, you have the other guys that are coming around, like Wester can be a possession guy, and I think this guy is going to be that wherever you need me to be, outside in the slot, you want me in the screen, you want me to be line up close to the tight end, whatever you need, I can play that role.
It'll be a lot of fun coming across the middle, I think. Yeah,
and ain't many linebackers that are going to be able to stay with him because if he puts a jab step, any kind of stutter or suddenness, he's instantly going to be a step ahead. You ain't catching him from behind. So he's got good hands. The big stride, the way he can pull away from people. We're going to get right now into the comps here. This is why I feel like the build, right? The way he can go up and get the ball. That's where I see like the AJ Brown type, right? He's a smaller version. He's 200 pounds. He's only 18 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can probably gain another 10, 15 pounds in the next 2-3 years. So he could be right there like AJ was coming out of college at Ole Miss. But the stride, like, that just gives me AJ Green vibes, like, everywhere. I know it's AJ and AJ, right? But just the way he plays, AJ had that like gazelle-like movements to him. When he separated, he could pull away. He was a little bit taller, a couple more. I think he had 2 or 3 inches on Russell, but kind of a mixture of both of those guys. He could be, is a unique player in himself. But what are your thoughts on those two guys?
Yeah, I like the AJ Green, aspect. Because I don't think AJ Green was a burner.
No.
But man, that dude had hands for days. I mean, he's one of the greatest high school catches I've ever seen in my life. Where he catches the ball and is doing basically he lands on the ground, does a backflip almost. Yeah. It's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. And that's where I think if he can get better body control, because he has really, he's really good stride, really good hands in space. He knows where to sit down. Like he's a good, possession spot guy.
Right.
If he can get his body control can get a little bit better, and I think Dion is a guy that can really bring in somebody to help him out with that. Watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think this kid's hungry now. It's been a little bit. Went through the, the highs and lows. He went through the low. So I think now it's, time for the ascension of Cordale Russell. CFB Nation. It's my guy, Boom. I'm Nino Brown. We're going to try to get back in the saddle, get things going, giving you 2 a week. We got another one coming up this week. It's going to be a guy that I had hopes for. He really didn't pop off for freshman year. Got a little bit. I say he didn't pop off, but when we talk about it, maybe he did pop off a little bit compared to the guys in his class in the top 3. That'd be Texas A&M running back Ruben Owens, 5-star recruit. Once again, CFB Nation. This is Devy Darling. Boom. Take us away.
Hey, till next time. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.